One of the challenges we often hear from almost every member that we work with is a lack of transparency and accountability within this bill-only process. Most times it's a manual process, which makes it difficult to have access to sometimes all of the data that you need. So it's difficult to ensure pricing accuracy or contract compliance. We recently hosted a webinar with leaders from University of Chicago and Surgery Exchange, where they shared how they are collaborating to help mitigate this issue. Here are a few clips from that event where they can highlight their work together and how it's not only having a financial impact, but also has the potential impact to improve a lot of operational efficiencies as well.
For me, the bill-only process is the process of purchasing and paying for goods after they were used. In a standard purchasing cycle, a hospital can identify the need for certain products. We submit a purchase order to the supplier delivers them, we put them away in inventory, and we start using them. In the bill-only process, we actually bring the products to the case or the OR room through the supplier rep for various reasons, and we use them, then we initiate the purchase order process. And the need for this additional channel of inventory can vary from organization to another, but I see it everywhere, and it is needed. That's why we had to bypass the regular processes to achieve the service level that we need for our patients. Now, why did we initiate this project? We had inefficiencies in our bill-only process. Those inefficiencies led to inaccurate purchase order data, long payment cycle to our supplier, invoice holds, and off-contract spend. We had a goal to improve this process and automate it. So as you can see here in the numbers, 50% of our purchase order lines were created manually. I'm talking about the bill-only purchase order lines. And that manual requisition goes to a manual buyer's queue where the buyers have to dispatch those purchase orders. And we were spending about 40 hours per week just creating requisitions. We're not counting the time spent by the buyers to manually dispatch those orders. So this can explain the magnitude of the problems, the areas of inefficiencies, and this is why we have started this project.
How did you and your team go about gaining interest and alignment across these groups to create a solution?
The goal that we set to ourselves is, one, standardize the process, automate it, and making sure that we use the data that we have in our information systems, instead of relying on manually enter data either by the supplier reps or internally by our stakeholders who manage this process. So in the old process, there used to be a lot of communication back and forth between the stakeholders. For example, supplier reaching out, asking about the purchase order. So we partnered with Surgery Exchange to create a web-based, cloud-based portal that help us to solve those problems. The process starts as before. After the case is completed, the products are used. Our clinical team document the usage in the EMR. The data is coming from our EMR in a standard tabular form automatically. And the portal itself, Surgery Exchange, then look up the prices automatically from our contracts and our ERP catalog. We feed those two data sets to Surgery Exchange. So the usage verification, manual usage verification, and manual price verification were taken care of using this portal. We were able to reduce the time from the case date to the purchase order date by 70%. So that's a shorter payment cycle, which is good for us and also good for the supplier. We were able to reduce the bill-only invoice hold by 50%. And because we are feeding our contracts and our ERP catalog to Surgery Exchange, and the prices are being automatically identified and reconciled, we were able to increase the contract compliance and improve our contract maintenance, which led to an estimated we have cost avoidance saving by like 200,000 per year. We are still in the process of rolling out. So 70% of our bill-only purchase orders go through Surgery Exchange. We are working on automating a process across 4 different systems: ERP, contracting system where we host our contract data, EMR, and the cloud-based portal, which is Surgery Exchange. The compatibility of the IT infrastructure between those systems matter a lot in a project like that. And so we had some challenge in the beginning while we were working on the project. And I would not consider this as the biggest challenge, but that's something to consider when any organization is working on a project like that. Then we had the people challenge, achieving engagement, the supplier buy-in. As you see that we have onboarded the supplier rep on our portal and our workflow and process. So we need their buy-in to follow the standard process and to communicate with us with any issue. Same thing with our internal stakeholder. However, through our strong relationship with the suppliers and also strong relationship internally, we were able to overcome this challenge. The third type of the challenge, which I consider the biggest challenge, is the data challenge. We worked on an automation across 4 different systems. For example, price in ERP, contracting system, and on the supplier side. Those 3 data points need to align perfectly in order for the automation to work. So this is a problem that was there before, but now with automation, this problem was uncovered, and we had to solve it with our sourcing team, doing an extensive review of our contract and working closely with the supplier to update their prices also on their end so that the automation would work. So that's something we should anticipate whenever we are working on any automation project.
Excellent. Great feedback, Hussam. We really appreciate you taking the time to share with us your candid experience. And now I'd like to turn it over to Jerry Siri, who is the Vice President at Surgery Exchange, to learn more about this portal that University of Chicago Medicine is using and how Surgery Exchange is working with healthcare systems across the country to solve for this tricky space.
Thank you, Rachel. So we have a process where we sit down with the hospital and go through a discovery phase to assess where the pain points are. We develop an implementation plan and recommendations based on our experience with other clients, with our subject matter experts. And then if everything makes sense to the hospital, we develop the implementation, which then works with certainly the IT department, it works with supply chain, it works with the OR, works with SPD to really implement a solution that makes sense. We have a couple examples of how you benefit in terms of PO generation efficiency. And you heard Hussam talk about this and the significant reduction in wait time to generate the PO. Here's a hospital which joined us in February of this year. What you're looking at here are bars which reflect the improvement in PO generation over the 6-month period. Hussam also talked in terms of saving about $200,000 in off-contract capture and cost avoidance. And based on our experience with our clients, what you're looking at here is kind of a summary of expectations. It's not hard and fast, but it's a guideline for you to think about. The columns represent dollars in spend, anywhere from $2.5 to $10 million in annual bill-only spend. And the x-axis represents what we're seeing, depending on the client and so on. Somewhere between 2.5% and 4% of that spend is, if you will, captured. It's saved. So you can use this as a guide to think in terms of your spend, where we might be able to provide some real value from a dollar standpoint. But really, the most important thing is we're providing you with an end-to-end solution that will improve your processes, address a lot of the challenges you have, connects across all the stakeholders in the process, taking a manual process and make it streamlined, automated. What a great job Hussam did in leading the UCM team. I hope his success with taking control of the bill-only process at UCM will spark your enthusiasm to do the same.
It's exciting to see the developments occurring at these progressive organizations by adopting new, innovative approaches. We're still in the early stages, but are seeing overwhelmingly positive results. As aptitude users and advocates, we know that you place an emphasis on leveraging data and technology as well. If you're interested in exploring more about this program to improve your bill-only process, please reach out to me to the email that you see shown here.